Hello again, everyone. And if you have been here before, thanks again for coming back. I've been doing this little monthly show, if you want to call it that, for about 3 months now. And I think it's safe to say that no one is absolutely sick of me yet. So this is a win in my book. My name is Jeremy, and welcome back to the Automated Podcast, where this is just more of a ramble than it is a monthly podcast. But this is just me to share my experience with the IT industry in hopes that someone else would like to sit down, share a cup of coffee, share a cup of tea, and feel like they're just hanging out with me for a few minutes, almost like our own mini water cooler. This month is a little special to me. It's a topic that I'm very fond of because March here at AutoMox is server month. This is where confetti would rain down with the post effects processing that I've been asking for budget for. But I think a lot of people would argue, if you're cool enough, being able to navigate the world of servers and server management is essential for your IT knowledge. Managing servers is kind of like a dance. So imagine this. You're doing a tango, and do you know how to tango? It's a beautiful dance, but it's known as a walking dance. So first you step in. It's beautiful. Everything's good. And then you step in again. And then MySQL is down and everything is broken and everyone's mad at you and your Slack is blowing up. So managing servers is a dance. It's a blend of automation and monitoring and learning where you step. So my background in managing servers came quite early for me. The reason being that I started out in the web hosting industry, an industry dominated completely by Linux. So while becoming more mature in my IT career, I did have to empower my Windows skill set. Linux is where I felt the most comfortable. But also because of this is where I have my best and probably my worst memories too. Linux is widely regarded as more energy and resource efficient, especially with minimal installations. It allows for a lightweight setup tailored to specific use cases. Most people would give you the argument that Linux excels when handling high performance workloads such as web servers or databases. However, one massive benefit with Linux was not only the cost, but the ease of getting a server ready to use. This is, for me, how I was able to get my start, was because servers were so readily available for me, but also cost effective. I needed a server to host websites or email or running certain applications that could be deployed easily. I would be able to have a Linux server created as fast as I needed it. If it was a circumstance where I needed to pay money, the cost was so minimal and I didn't have to consider it for too long. I'm not afraid to admit that Windows has its own benefits. Being able to make use of built-in Microsoft solutions or Active Directory is a massive asset to anyone in IT. Not to mention the environments requiring robust identity management or compatibility with software, but especially for Windows, this is where my Windows Server knowledge had to really expand. Growing up beyond web hosting, but learning a more IT-centric role. So when I began my journey with Linux, I was able to start small, having to manage only one server that would house Apache and an email server, local MySQL for things like WordPress databases and etc. I got to dive straight into the Linux command line, which made me feel so cool. For Linux, I do think that there was a learning curve to getting myself up to speed. I definitely asked a lot of questions, and I also had to look at a lot of error logs and just copy and paste some of things into Google. And of course, yes, I did come face to face with the challenge of learning something new, but every single problem that you face just turns into a lesson. You begin looking for the errors in the same places. You begin to start recognizing trends when it comes to root cause analysis. I think that a lot of IT admins, anyone in general, probably has a massive list of notes that we've taken over the course of our career. I personally have a hard drive just filled with plain text error logs that nobody would really understand except for myself. But these were reminders of not only keeping like a memento of the things that I've learned, but things that, to me, these errors carry a lesson with them that I've just retained over the course of my IT career. So let's talk about automation. If I can be honest, I never used Windows servers to manage applications or web servers or anything like that. My experience with it was learning the basics of SCCM and the purposes of automating personal workstations. I cannot stress this enough. I only learned the basics specifically in patching. When it came to Linux, I was able to learn everything I needed for basically free. For Windows, unless I was given hands-on training, I had to rely on YouTube videos or other courses. But what I was most familiar with was Ansible. I was not aware at the time of learning Ansible that it could be versatile to have my playbooks work for both Windows and Linux. Also, because of how widely adopted it is, finding resources on the internet was a really comforting thing. So servers live on the internet. And we as server admins, we live in a communion with the internet. Google is our ocean. We are sailing through a sea of knowledge powered by coffee. So for me, Ansible was perfect for my small clusters, but I felt confident that should I need to scale up to larger infrastructures, I could be agile with this. Also, Ansible has a very extensive library of modules, so much community-driven resources, forums. I know Reddit is dangerous, but it can also be helpful if you're looking in the right places. Not only was this a learning experience, but in certain moments, I was saving time and I was saving effort. The cherry on top was that Ansible playbooks were written in YAML. So yes, I still admit that there was a learning curve for getting started with Ansible playbooks, but I never felt so lost that I wanted to give up. A lot of information pertaining to Ansible was so easily digestible for me. And I guess another massive benefit that I want to make sure I discuss is that if the information you want to learn is approachable, you don't feel like you're getting lost. A lot of the times as an IT admin, when we're learning new topics, it's usually because something is wrong. When you're trying to face down a problem, you feel as if you're just running towards a wall and you're not making any progress. But if we're starting to learn while we're solving a problem, you come to embrace the effort that you're putting in. I think what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't feel so much that something is wrong where I'm trying to put out a fire. It feels like, oh, by learning how to resolve this issue, I'm hardening my infrastructure. I'm making myself more capable of resolving these issues because they will come up again. This is not my one server. This is one of 500, which will soon probably become one of thousands or whomever. But you might think like, oh, how on earth is this knowledge that I'm absorbing being retained? It is. You might not constantly be thinking of it as, oh, I know the solution to this problem. It was, I remember this problem before. It has come up before. It will come up again. And you're just kind of hardening your method, your thought processes of, oh, where do I look when this happens again? What did I see? What commonalities am I starting to see? This kind of gets your brain turning for my opportunities for automation. So when I think when it comes to automating servers, I first had to get over any concerns that I had. It was one thing to learn how to manage your own environment, but now you're having to manage multiple servers. And even if it's only two, that means that to trust your environment, you're going to have to begin to develop confidence that your environment will just work consistently. Once you establish automation, you have to establish testing and monitoring. And all of this was intimidating at the beginning because to some degree, I have to turn my back to these devices and trust that they will behave as I expect them to behave. At the root of my concern was having to accept that my servers will not be exactly like other environments. I'm human, and as a human, I have inconsistencies among my environments, and these inconsistencies can manifest themselves as special occurrences. So, for example, one day a service went down for a specific reason that I will never be able to find the cause for. or certain software or plugins don't work as expected due to a configuration that I set a long time ago and just forgot. By wanting to adopt automation, this, in a way, forced me to maintain consistency in how I manage my environments. So to some degree, this also includes wanting to be consistent with what other sysadmins are advising for their servers. While it's true that some cloud providers make it easy to adopt certain automations, learning how to accomplish things on your own is still extremely beneficial. A lot of these automation services are likely powered using methodologies based on services that you should be learning on your own, such as NFS and OCFS2. Because the influence of open source in the world of servers and server management, even by learning these free to use open source tools, you're doing yourself a favor, since most of our automation platforms are solely based on these systems. I hope that moving forward with servers, or even just whatever infrastructure you're monitoring, I hope that you take any mistakes or errors or failures, not so much as a way of breaking us down, but a way of building yourself up. One thing that I also like to advise everyone, and this doesn't even have to be IT related, it can just be personal related. It's one of my favorite quotes that I took it from a public speaker, but you've already survived 100% of the worst days you've ever had. So with that being said, even on the worst days you've ever had, at least you're taking something positive away from it. At least I hope you are. I want to thank you again for sticking around with me. It's always a pleasure getting to share this time with you. Please enjoy the remainder of your March. I know we just got here, but hopefully the year's kicking off well for you. Enjoy the rest of the month while you got it. Best of luck to you and your servers. I hope that they behave themselves as best as they can. Remember to be kind to yourself at work and at home. I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Cheers.